Hello again. I'm Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. If you bear with me just a second, I'm going to adjust my camera so that we can all have a good time. Again, I'm Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. I'm the author of the book, or the trilogy of books, The Voices in My Head. The Voices in My Head trilogy. This is the first one. This is the first one, The Voices in My Head. Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. You can see that right there. That's me. That's my main character over there. His name is Sean Bowers. And this is The Voices in My Head 2, The Bewitching Hour. I wrote these books believing that I had a great story that needed to get out. And I did, and it proved to be that. I made a conscious effort to be able to write this story to give my reading audience a look into the mind of someone different, a look into a different aspect of how a suspense thriller, murder mystery, or horror story should be told. And I think I've achieved that goal. Looking back on when I was writing my story, I think the first thing I wanted to do was to develop the character. I had no problem with that. You know, my mind runs rampant with different things. I actually walk around thinking of character names in my head. So even coming up with the names was like, just really simple. I promote my work through social media, online. I even bought signs to go on the side of my van and ride around with my book, because promotion is so important when you write your book. It doesn't just stop there. You don't just write it, send it out to Amazon, send it out to Barnes & Noble, and then hopefully, excuse me, you believe that it gets its credibility just by being out there. Right? No, it doesn't. You actually have to promote your book. You have to have social media pages. I have an author page on Google+. I have a author page on LinkedIn. I have a Facebook fan page, author Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. I have a website, jerrydonnicholessr.com. I go on Instagram, Tumblr, WordPress, because I believe all these places can help me to market and promote my book the best way possible. I listen to and watch webinars. A lot of times, I spend a lot of time watching Shay Brown and Trevor Otts. I spend a lot of time listening to Mia Zachary, Barrett Matthews, Myron Golden, George Fraser. These people are very influential in my life. So I encourage you to, first off, read. Education is such a very important commodity for us to have. A lot of us struggle with the fact of not knowing something. And I'm here to tell you now, the worst thing about not knowing something is it gives you the feeling of being stuck in one place without being able to move. It's kind of like having your feet stuck in mud. And you can't really go anywhere. And every time you try to lift your feet out of that mud, it feels like it's sucking you back down and holding you hostage. You're going to have to go out and obtain information to educate yourselves so that you can be efficient. Once you educate yourself with all the information that you need, don't hold on to it. Share it. Give it away. When I gather information and help myself in a way that's going to help me progress forward, because everything to me is about moving forward. If it's going to help me progress forward, then you know what? I think about people that's trying to do the same thing as me. So I give that information away to others so that they can learn too, because when I don't, it feels like I'm stealing from the greats that gave this information to me. The first time I started writing, I had no clue that I was going to develop a story that was going to be so good and that people were going to write such great reviews about. I had no clue. Most importantly, when I first started, I didn't think that I was good enough to actually create a story that was worth reading or worth other people reading. Eventually I learned, I can't believe that I can do something if I don't believe in myself doing it in the first place. Yeah. So what I started doing was I started listening to webinars. I started going to live events, listening to speakers. Because what they did was they encouraged me to create my own brand. So then I started realizing, hey, the voices in my head is not just a book. It could be my brand. So then I said, this one book could become a trilogy. And that's what happened. It became a trilogy. The Voices in My Head. This is the back. Got my picture on it. So then I wrote The Voices in My Head 2, The Bewitching Hour. Hey, remember that brand I was telling you about? The Voices in My Head. My character over here, Sean Bowers, yeah. But you notice the voices in my head, how I got it so bold in there? But this is the Voices in My Head 2, The Bewitching Hour. The third installment is currently at the publishers as we speak. It's called The Voices in My Head, The Bewitching Hour. The voices in my head have become my brand, but it's not my only books. I've written several other books. Some I haven't sent to the publishers yet because I never stopped writing. I learned something from Stevie Wonder. Stevie Wonder had an album called The Songs in the Key of Life. And I read an article about Stevie Wonder probably 30 years ago. And they said that Stevie had a library of music that had not been recorded yet. A library of music. So at any point, whenever he wants to create an album, he just goes back into his library and pulls out music and says, hey, I'm going to revamp this a little, and then I'm going to go ahead on and send it out to the public and see what they think about it. I'm going to record it. Writing is that way for me. I continue writing. Though I have 3 books written, 2 of them published, and 1 is at the publishers as we speak here, I have 2 other books. And I actually have, one of those 2 is actually finished. It's called We Forgot to Remember. It's a self-help / motivational book. That book is actually done. It'll be at the publisher soon. I also have another book that I'm currently writing that has a female protagonist called Forgive me for that one. But it's called The Diary of Winter Rain. And I believe every book I write is the best work I've ever done. I have to believe that. So I write so you believe that. I write my stories so that when you start reading them, they come alive right in your mind, man. I want you to see my character for what they are. I want you to believe what they're saying. So I write it that way. It's necessary for you to believe what it is that I'm writing about. Other than that, I haven't achieved my goal. I've wasted my time just jotting stuff down on paper, not realizing that, hey, it's garbage. But you know what? I'm my own worst critic. I love the stories that I write, and I want you to love them. So I encourage you to go out and get your copies of The Voices in My Head trilogy, The Voices in My Head 1, The Voices in My Head 2, The Bewitching Hour, and coming soon, The Voices in My Head 3, Bloodlines. Read them. And don't just read those books. I encourage you to read books that are self-help books that are going to help you, because maybe you want to be a writer. Maybe you want to become an author. See, I'm going to pass that information on to you, like I said. You'd be surprised at how good you can write. See, that was the first thing that I had to get over, because I didn't have that self-confidence that said, you can write this book, Jerry. I had to convince myself that I was capable of doing this, and that I did have something that I could share with my reading audience, with the literary communities. I made it happen. I'm very proud of my work. You can do the same thing. Sometimes we set ourselves back by not moving forward in a direction that's going to put us in a place where we can think. You want to be able to think, then you need to advance your knowledge. Knowledge is only potential power if you don't put it into action. I write that on my wall. Knowledge is only potential power until you put it into action. Remember that. You can be book smart, street smart, but it doesn't make a difference if you don't have any action behind your words. What that is called is a waste of time. And trust me, wasted time cannot be recovered. It's gone. It's out of here. Done. Don't waste your time. Go out and make something happen. Go out and achieve your goals. Love what you do, because when you love what it is that you do it to the best of your ability. I love to write. I love to write so much that I spend more of my time writing than anything else in the world. I'm going to continue to write. I'm going to continue cranking out these stories of encouragement, cranking out these stories so people have something different to read. People can have a great story to sit down in their easy chair, to lay back in their beds and enjoy it. My books are available at Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. You can go to JerryDonNicholasSr.com. That's my website. You can also go to Author Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. to my Facebook fan page. You can go to Author Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. to my Google+. You can go to LinkedIn, WordPress, Tumblr. You can go to Instagram. All these social media sites, Twitter. Go there. Type in Author Jerry Don Nicholes Sr. and you'll find my work. But not only will you find my work, you're going to probably be encouraged by the fact that not only am I sharing my work with you, but I'm sharing information as well that can help you become better at what it is that you do. Even though I write horror and suspense thrillers, I still want to be able to share a message, something positive to the young people in our generation to be able to achieve their goals. My children, my grandchildren, I love them, my nephews, nieces. I want to encourage everyone to go out and do what it is that you've been procrastinating about your whole life. Stop procrastinating. If you want to write, sit down and write. If you want to tell your story, you have it in you to tell the story. You just got to go let it out. So again, this is Jerry Don Nicholes Sr., author of the trilogy of books, The Voices in My Head, and coming soon, The Voices in My Head Bloodlines. Go get your copies now while the holidays are up. You can go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. You can go to JerryDonNicholasSr.com. Get your copies of these books. Enjoy reading great stories. Enjoy your holidays. Peace, love to everyone.